This program is underwritten by the generous support of Stored Tech, technology solutions for computers, networks, and phone. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.
Firms deal only with prevention, the systems that block hackers and viruses. Stored Tech knows the root cause is actually good people doing bad things. So we offer a security training program which includes certifying all participants to show they understand the basics.
Technology solutions for computers, networks, and phones. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. It's a regular town board meeting, July 17th, 2017 at 7 p.m. And would you all please rise and join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, thank you all for coming. We have no public hearings tonight, so we're going to go straight to the resolutions. We have before us tonight 13 resolutions, and I will describe each resolution. There is an agenda up here on the table. If you wish to come forward and grab one, you're welcome to do so. I'll give a brief description, and then I'll give the public an opportunity to speak to any of the resolutions before us tonight. If they have questions or comments, feel free to offer them. Okay, resolutions. 2.1. Please, Rose.
This is a resolution rejecting bid for state police barracks residing project.
All right, we wanted to fix up the exterior of the state police barracks building across from the school on Aviation Road. It has cedar siding, needs some staining. Some of the siding needs to be pinned down a little better, maybe some of it replaced. So we put out a bid, and we only got one bid in. And the bid was way higher than we were comfortable with or thought was appropriate. So this is a resolution to reject the bid, and we're going to go and rebid it. Resolution 2.2.
It's a resolution authorizing budget transfer.
Okay, and this is a budget transfer. There were two grievances brought against the town of Queensbury alleging that we breached the town's collective bargaining agreement with civil service employees. And so we resolved such matters, and we came to a what we thought medium ground, a settlement agreement for the sum of $6,704 to settle this. We thought it was adequate and fair. Resolution 2.3.
Resolution amending resolution number 111, 2017, regarding engagement of Aqualogic Inc. relating to Glen Lake Aquatic Plant Growth Control District. All
right, thank you, Rose. We already approved an amount for Glen Lake to have some vacuuming of their milfoil. And so this is done with the divers assisted suction harvesting. And they would like to put in an additional 10 days of harvesting into their original bid, which was $14,825, to make a total of $24,575. Resolution 2.4.
Resolution authorizing purchase of 2017 Ford F-350 truck for use by town wastewater department.
All right, we have a 2009 F-350 truck with 167,000 miles on it, and it's time to replace it. So replacing it with a 2017 Ford F-350 with accessories is going to come to an amount of $44,326.57. And another $1,000 for ancillary items to make it water department ready. Resolution 2.5.
Resolution authorizing agreement between the town of Queensbury and Lake George Regional Chamber of Commerce and Convention and Visitors Bureau.
All right, this is an annual agreement. It's been the same amount for as long as I can remember. So we've had an agreement with them going beyond 3-4 years. And this is $17,500. And this is the Lake George Chamber of Commerce does promoting and marketing services for the town of Queensbury, which benefits our hotels, motels, restaurants, stores, and other businesses. And we found this relationship to be very strong and very valid. Resolution 2.6.
Resolution authorizing reappointment of Brian Draitline as a member of Town Cemetery Commission.
All right, just as it says, Brian Draitline would like to be reappointed to this Town Cemetery Commission. He's done a very good job there. And this is a resolution to authorize and ratify the reappointment of Mr. Draitline for Commissioner for a new 3-year term commencing as of July 1st, 2017. Resolution 2.7.
Resolution authorizing reappointment of Donna Partridge as a member of Town Cemetery Commission.
All right, and the same thing. It's Cemetery Commission member Donna Partridge, terms expires June 30th, 2017. And this is a resolution to authorize and ratify the reappointment of Ms. Partridge to the Commission for a new 3-year term commencing as of July 1st, 2017. Resolution 2.8.
Resolution authorizing hiring of Michael Brunell as full-time laborer for Town Highway Department.
Okay, the Town Highway Department has a full-time laborer position, a vacancy. The Highway Superintendent posted the availability of the position, reviewed resumes, and made a hiring recommendation to the town board to hire Michael Brunell as a temporary seasonal laborer who is currently a temporary seasonal laborer in the town cemetery department. And he's the nephew of Tim Brunell, who is our working foreman in our cemetery department. If approved tonight, Mike Brunell would have to successfully pass his pre-employment physical as required by the town, completion of 26 weeks probationary period, and it also be contingent upon the town successfully completing background checks as reasonably necessary to judge fitness for duties for which he was hired, and drug and alcohol screening. Resolution 2.9.
Resolution authorizing hiring of Josh Ryerson as full-time motor equipment operator for Town Highway Department.
All right, the Town of Queensbury Highway Superintendent has said that there is a vacancy. He wishes to for a motor equipment operator, or MEO. And the Highway Superintendent did post the availability of the position, reviewed resumes, and made hiring recommendations to the town board. And Josh Ryerson is their recommendation. He is an employee, a nephew of Dale Barrows, a working supervisor in the Highway Department. Mr. Ryerson's successful passing a pre-employment physical will be required. He will also be expected to successfully complete 26 weeks of a probationary period. He will have to go through background checks as reasonably necessary to judge fitness and do drug and alcohol screening. Resolution 210.
Resolution authorizing change of Bell Road to Bell Mountain Road.
All right, Dave Hodgson came in to see me recently, and he says, "Where do I live?" I said, "You live on Bell Mountain Road." He says, "Right." I said, "What's the problem?" He says, "Well, they just changed the sign to Bell Road." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "According to the original resolution, way back when, the name was Bell Road." I said, "Well, we've always referred to it as Bell Mountain Road. The sign has always been Bell Mountain Road." He says, 911 system says you have to change it in accord with what the legal name was that was given. He says, "Would the town board consider changing the name from Bell Road to Bell Mountain Road?" I said, "I think we can do that." So that's what this resolution is for. Resolution 211.
Resolution authorizing application for funds from New York State Energy Research and Development Authority for adoption of unified solar permit application.
All right, New York has a unified solar photovoltaic permitting process. It's very similar, according to Dave Hatton, who reviewed it. He's our building and codes director. It's very similar to what we do already. So if we pass this tonight and adopt the unified solar permit, then we will receive $2,500 from NYSERDA, which we can use for any environmental purpose that we want to. For example, we can use it for electronic recharging stations for any town vehicles that we may purchase in the electric vehicles we may purchase in the future. So the permit has been attached. It's not a long permit. It's pretty basic. And I sent it out for the town board review. It's gone through legal. And so it's gone through the gauntlet, and now it's before the town board. Resolution 212.
Resolution to amend 2017 budget.
All right, small shift from where money's where we don't need it to money's to where we unexpectedly need it. In this case, it's software. And Resolution 213.
Resolution approving audit of bills warrant of July 18th, 2017.
Okay, this is a warrant with a run date of July 13th and a payment date of July 18th, totaling $1,036,054.01. And those are the resolutions before us tonight. Anybody from the town board wish to have comment, ask questions?
I just have one question on one resolution, John. It was on 2-3. Why are they doing 10 more days? Is it to cover a bit larger area, or is there more milfoil to get rid of, or?
Paul Derby, 86 Ash Drive, President, Glen Lake Protective Association. Now, what happened was we had originally intended on using a different firm through Solitude Management, who did our herbicide treatments for 2 weeks of hand harvesting. But that firm was unable to do any of the work until October.
Okay.
So we thought that's way too late. So graciously, Aqualogic has agreed to add 2 weeks to their schedule.
So there's not a spread of it, or just
No.
larger area?
No, in fact, the herbicide treatments work very well.
Good.
In the 2 spots, and we do have a map of the areas they're going to use for hand harvesting.
Good.
So it was part of the
I
plan.
met one of the young fellows that came in our store one day to get some stuff, and seemed like a nice kid.
Probably Dominic.
Yeah.
He's really sharp.
Yep.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. They're starting this Thursday, so if you want to see how it works, come
Yeah.
by and take a
Where are
look.
they going to be doing it?
I think they're probably going to start on the east end off of Reardon Road and Hall Road in that area, and then they're going to go to St. Mary's Bay.
How do you feel the state of the lake is at this point?
The lake is in pretty good shape. We really feel like we have got a grasp of this milfoil. It hasn't advanced. In fact, we've seen a decline over the last few years. This year, of course, with all the rain, we're having turbidity problems, but it's in good shape. Other questions?
Questions?
That's all I have.
Paul,
Thank you.
maybe the public has some questions, so I'm glad you arrived, and I may call you back.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, George?
George Winters, 4 John Clinton Road in Queensbury. I'm just going to link 2 of them together, 2.8, 2.9. Have we had anybody retire from them positions or quit or in the town highway department?
Well, we're always having motion in there. I don't know the specifics, but I do know that they are vacancies. We didn't create them, so therefore individuals who were previously in those positions must have left them.
I know of at least 3 guys that retired, George, so they were
So
foremen. I'm sure they moved them around.
Constant shifting and moving in that department. That's our biggest department in terms of employees for full season.
Yeah.
The Park and Rec, of course, during the summer season.
Yeah. But I don't believe the town of Queensbury, with all the town highway department, needs any more help with all the equipment they have now.
No.
They should be able to operate with half the things that they did years ago, and I don't believe that they try to do that. That's my biggest complaint.
I understand.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, sir.
Thank you. With respect to Resolution 2.5, it was my experience and understanding that in order to be a member of the Lake George Chamber of Commerce and benefit from the activities of their Convention and Visitors Bureau, you had to pay dues. And those properties that paid dues got the exposure of the Convention and Visitors Bureau. Now, I assume that properties in Queensbury that are benefiting from this activity are paying dues to that organization. And those that don't consider themselves to be benefactors are not paying dues. Now, are you paying their dues?
I believe that the town's dues are included in this.
You're not a member of the chamber. You don't pay dues.
Me personally?
Tom.
Well, they do treat us as a member. I'm not sure where that go. You can ask Michael Consuelo.
If they aren't collecting enough money to support their activities from their members, all they have to do is raise the dues. We don't have to support it with taxpayer funds. And this is a direct payment of taxpayer funds.
But this is a different initiative. This is something that they promote the town of Queensbury with.
What's the town of Queensbury got to sell?
Lots.
Lots.
We have a lot to sell.
What benefit do you get? What
Tourism.
All it does is cost you money.
No, it brings in tourists, brings in people to the area.
I don't think you understand the benefactors of any payment have to be the primary beneficiaries. Some guy down the food chain, 16 steps, is not considered a part of it. These people who benefit from the Convention and Visitor Bureau in the town of Queensbury pay dues for that benefit. If they want to join, they pay dues. If they don't, they don't. So you shouldn't have to make up for it.
We're not making up for it, though.
Yes, you are.
We're not.
Well, John, if you took a look at their contract, they don't have to put the town of Queensbury's brochure, flyers, things like that. They put them in the main office. They locate them in information centers. They locate them in rest areas on the Northway. They take care of that. That all costs money.
But wait a minute. Any dues-paying member of that chamber has the same benefit. Your brochure is put. You don't pay dues, your brochures are not.
Our job, we try and promote the town at large. If you promote the town at large, it brings in sales tax revenues, which reduces your
Not
tax.
your affair, Mr. Strauss.
Yeah, well, that's your opinion.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Okay, seeing none. Any town board member thoughts on any of the resolutions? Any resolutions you wish to have polled for roll call? No. Okay, anybody like to put forward, introduce the resolutions 2.1 for 2 through 2.13? Introduced by Councilman Brewer, seconded by Councilman Medevere. Roll call vote, please, Rose.
Mr. Medevere?
Yes.
Mr. Clements?
Yes.
Mr. Irish is absent. Mr. Brewer?
Yes.
And Mr. Stroud?
Yes. All right, resolutions passed. Thank you. Okay, now on to privilege of the floor. Any member of the public wish to come to speak to the town board about any town topic? Yes, sir.
Good evening. Ron Miller, North Queensbury, Cleverdale area. This is the time of year for the annual consolidated funding applications where municipalities and groups go after some state money for grants on different issues. And last year, the town submitted for some help with Cleverdale Road and non-vehicular safety and some stormwater. We didn't get any funding. I'm here to just advocate and encourage that we apply again for whatever funding might be available to help get to the next step on non-vehicular safety on Cleverdale Road. It only gets busier as the years go by, so we would like that to continue. Secondly, I did give you a handout, and consolidated funding and grants and studies are a ways off, but I think we can do something quicker or even immediately to improve the pedestrian safety on Cleverdale Road, and that's with just improved visual controls. The first picture set I have for you there shows just a yellow sign with a curve on it, and it's on a sloped curve on Cleverdale Road, indicating, I guess, you should slow down because it's a curve. That's great, but the real problem in that curve is pedestrian safety, because it's a blind, limited line of sight, and pedestrians are surprised by people coming around the curve. So I would recommend that we, at least seasonally, put up some, pedestrian safety signs instead with the flags and the pedestrian, much like they do over there at the campground on Route 9N. Campground opens up, the pedestrian warning signs go up, and hopefully it's a safety measure that has an impact. So I would suggest that's an easy thing for us to do on Cleverdale Road.
Are these photos close in similarity where they are, where you've got
the one on the left is
actually
on Cleverdale Road.
Okay. And
the one on the right is from the campground at Hearthstone Campground on Route 9N. I'm just giving it as an example.
Okay, got it. I kind of looking at the same thing, and I thought they're not in the same spot.
No, they're.
So you want this sign in a different place?
I'm just looking for, I could put a pedestrian warning sign like that in a couple places along Cleverdale Road, just to highlight the conflict.
Well, I would think if it's a matter of safety, the highway department could put that up without too much trouble.
I'm here to make that suggestion.
Okay.
All right.
And so.
But the second one, do you have an idea how much those signs cost? The one you've got proposed here?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
You probably don't want to know.
I would think that it would be worth it.
No, I'm sure.
All right, we'll look into it, Ron.
Yeah, I just think that even if it's seasonal, it's just a daily conflict and risk. Mm-hmm. Strollers, joggers, pets, boat trailers, construction vehicles. It's just it's a dangerous road for non-vehicular traffic. The second one is just a picture of the existing speed limit sign on Cleverdale, which is 25 miles an hour. Mm-hmm. And what I'm looking, my point of what we recommend is the speed limit signs that come with your speed is, by the way,
right.
Speed limit is 25. And it can be up there all year long for all I care.
What's interesting, we were just told that the lowest we're allowed to set speed limits within the town, with the exception of schools, 30 miles an hour.
That picture was taken today, 25 miles an hour.
But the state law is 30.
So you turn off of Cleverdale, 25, onto Boathouse Road, which is a smaller road. It goes up to 30.
30, yeah.
See, 30 is the standard. We just had the legal department look into that for us, Karen.
So you'll be out changing 25-mile-an-hour speed limit signs, and it's an opportunity to put up a new and improved speed limit sign, or a couple of them.
Yeah, well, let's see what we can do.
Okay, well, appreciate your attention. And
the history of when we had that moving speed?
Yes.
Okay. So you're familiar with what Cleverdale Road?
Yes, we had a temporary, set it up and took some monitoring of actual speeds, and then it goes away. What I'm advocating for is something that's there 24/7 for his...
We have Kathy Bizzoni researching what grants might be available to look at improving the stormwater situation on Cleverdale Road, as well as improving pedestrian safety.
Okay. Awesome.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else like to speak to the town board? Yes, sir.
George Winters, 4 John Clenner Road, Queensbury. The intersections where you come out onto the roads, half of them you can't see down the road. The one I'm talking about is Sherman. You come up on Burke Drive and come to the stop sign, then you go that little street, and then you're coming out onto Sherman Avenue and looking down the road. You got to pull out a long ways.
Burke Drive?
Yeah, you go up Burke Drive, the new one, off the Luzerne. I come up through there looking at the houses, and then you come up to the stop sign and take a little side street. I don't know, can't remember what it was now. But when you come out on Sherman Avenue, but there's a lot of them in the town that they should be able to cut the brush back so they can see.
All right, I'll have the highway department, I'll ask them if they take a look at that situation.
I was going to address something else, George, tonight, and I'll address it now, that we have 3 roads that are completely washed out in the town, so our highway department is really taxed right now to get those roads reopened. So
Yeah, but
a lot of the maintenance stuff is being kind of pushed to the side until they get these roads open again.
But this is something I brought up several times, not just that street, but Crownwood, where you go on to come off Aviation Road into Crownwood. They've cut that back quite a few different times, but it grows right back up again. And then when the kids are in school, they park their cars down there, because no kids in the town of Queensbury can walk a half a block. You know, they got to have a car. They got to get in the car at Mama's door and go down to the street, which is, you know, a quarter of a mile maybe.
Uphill both ways.
Yeah, but that's what it's coming to. So you got 4 cars down on the one corner, you know?
All right.
Then you're trying to pull in there, but that's something that ain't going to change. And but one other thing is on near the YMCA, where the Glens Falls put the new walkway there.
Yes.
And then they put a big bump in the road. And that's supposed to slow the people down.
Right.
But there's probably 4,000 cars go over that road today. And there's probably 2 kids that come up, 2 groups of kids in a day would come up to go across that road. To me, that don't make sense. How is that going to slow anybody down? It's right where the kids are going to walk.
Yeah, but
They got the big hump in there.
That's the city, that's not us.
It's the city, but I thought I could bring it up here. And
Yeah, well, you bring it up, but I mean, that's the city's issue.
yeah, and one other thing, I guess I'd address this to Brian. The foreign seniors that, or I said it, kids that come here to work in the summertime.
I'm sorry, the what?
The foreign students that come here to work in the
Yes.
summer. They had in the paper that they didn't have enough places for them to stay.
I saw that.
Yeah, and my suggestion would be, if you're employing 15 of them kids, before you can get them 15 kids, make sure you got a place for them to stay. And make sure when they come into town, there's somebody there to take care of them. You know what I mean? I can't imagine a foreign student coming here and coming into a big, town, something they've never seen before maybe, and then get here, and then the people that employ them misuse them. They weren't paying some of them because it's raining and too much, and
I read that in the paper, and
I don't know if that's all true, but that's that.
Well, one of the things is that there's a student connection committee that's going to be meeting, and we're doing some things for next year.
Right.
So you're absolutely right. There are some things that can be done, and as a matter of fact, Adirondack Community SUNY Adirondack, excuse me, said that they would offer some of that housing for them during the time that there are no students in there.
Yeah.
For temporary lodging. But you're right. We're going to have to look at some other things.
These kids all come over here
and
not have an idea where they're going to stay when they come over here?
Well,
I would never send my daughter to a foreign country without a place to stay. I mean,
They promised them something, but it's not here when they get here. But, that's what I
some
say.
of the promises aren't done by here, though. They're done by over in the other countries. So that's one of the problems.
Well, and that's why we have the student connection sort of.
Yeah, I see, and not, that's why I say I gotta
The
give.
whole purpose was to have something.
Right.
to
To help
them
those
solve
kids
it,
out, right?
Because
I
it wasn't anything.
Yeah, because I don't know where it got way out of hand, but, you know, if I'm gonna have a hired man come in and work for me, I want him to have some place, so I know that if he don't come to work for me, I know where he is, you know? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
They have come down on some of those people, though.
Yeah, but, you know.
There's probably more out there that we don't know
What wrote in the
about.
Post-Star was terrible, you know, so if you're a student, you know.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, George.
Thank you.
Good evening, gentlemen. Rachel Sieber, Town of Queensbury. I wanted to come in front of you tonight and talk about an issue that's been a hot topic, not just on social media, but even today I had someone stop by my house to talk about it. And I'm hoping to get a little bit of clarification tonight, but I have three concerns within this general question that I'm going to ask you. I know a few weeks ago we had a workshop and you guys talked about lawn signs or business signs or flags or sandwich boards or all of the things, right? And recently there's been a lot of unhappy Queensbury residents and business owners who I'll start with the first one, on someone's own property. They put a sign out. They've been pretty careful to make sure that it's far enough off from the road, although it's still, you know, I understand the concern, the safety concern. But they've put out signs for people who've done work on their homes. Quite a few people actually, and I think I might have tagged Brian in the Facebook streams, but a very heated discussion about how upset many of our homeowners are that their signs are being taken down. They come home, they see they're gone, they're trying to give a shout out to a small business who, as many of us know, live on referrals. And they've done a good job in their home and they put up a sign, whether it be a pool service or a lawn service or, you know, whatever it might be. But that also then led into the next concern, which I heard just today that, you know, I thought there was some exception for small businesses, a new business that might have opened, a period of time where perhaps they could have a sandwich board out or some balloons or a flag or whatever it might be, letting them know. But I've heard from a couple businesses, even recently, you know, they've just opened and before they know it, someone's stopping in and telling them they can't have that sign up. Lastly, it also, and so I started researching this and I've spoken to a lot of people about it, and I understand section 145, 143 and the difference between the portable signs, you know, for contractors versus the large ones which need to come home at the end of the day. And also, interestingly enough, it came to my attention that from like the early 90s, there's this court case because, of as you can imagine, it became, well, politicians have their signs on their lawns, you know, all the time. You go into election season and our town becomes inundated in political signs. How come that's allowed, but we can't have a sign on our lawn? And I know there's a court case dating way back to the 90s. I can't seem to get my hands on that case decision.
I just
remember
had her name and my tongue.
Was it?
Marilyn Potenza.
Oh, okay. Well,
Wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was Marilyn Potenza.
Yeah.
She
Right.
won. There was I remember when it happened. There was a political sign, and they said she couldn't have it, and
Right.
ended up she could have it. Political signs are different than the signs that you're talking about.
well, I would think so, except in my research, that's never been amended in the policy as far as I can tell. So it's going on case law, certainly, but your procedure and your policy, I think the argument is if a homeowner can't put up a sign in their lawn that's approximately the same size as our political signs, why is it okay for politicians to be able to do it during certain time frames?
It used to be years ago. There used to be a permit you used to get. It was
Right.
$25 or whatever it was. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't put that back on the books. I don't know, but
Yeah.
there has to be some way to control them, and they just
Sure.
put them everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, on the weekends, you get
Yeah.
somebody that's not even from this area and
Yeah.
put 92 signs on along the Northway and Route 9, and
I guess
they
though.
never pick them up.
Right. Councilman Brewer, what I'm referring to, I think first and foremost, is a homeowner's right. If they want to put something maybe 5 or 10 feet, from their door, not necessarily, I recognize, on the side of the road and how that can be dangerous, but I'm just asking, could you maybe revisit this issue at a workshop or talk a little bit more about the effect that it's having on the individual homeowner, but also we want to be business friendly. And And to the same extent, let's be fair, if there's not an exclusion for our political signs, then we shouldn't have them out either. So I guess what I'm wondering
Political
is...
signs are put everywhere. They're
I
put on
know.
corners, they're put on somebody's property, they don't ask permission, so I agree with you on that. I hate them.
Yeah. So I'm just wondering, is this something you could bring back at a workshop to have a discussion on?
It was my understanding at one time that small businesses that were doing things at homes could put their sign out there while they're working there, maybe the day before, and when maybe a day after they get done working, and then they were supposed to take them out. That seemed to be the policy at one time.
And it still is.
Okay.
The unwritten policy is that, let's say, you got Clements Roofing.
Blacktop Drive, yeah.
Okay, or whatever.
I don't get up on roofs anymore.
You're going to put your sign out advertising, and you're going to be working on that house. Technically, that's illegal to put the sign out. However, for the duration, like I say, maybe a day before, maybe a day after, it's fine. We kind of look the other way. Put your sign out there that you're doing the roofing or you're doing the top coating, whatever you're doing. Okay, we get it. And we do want to be business friendly. There are people, though, that leave the sign, Clements Roofing, on 2 months after you finish the job. Because they want to kind of advertise for you, maybe they're a relative or something.
They need some more.
That, we can't allow that.
There has to be some sort of a permitting process or something, Jen, so you can keep track
Well,
of it.
we do have a permitting process. You can go
So
in.
if somebody wants to put a sign up, let them come in and get a permit for $10 or whatever it is, and...
It's a rather minimal fee, but there is a duration. And you're only allowed to do it like 3 times a year, I think.
I wanted to bring it up because I do think maybe there could be further discussion about it. From what I've understood, there is a lot of gray area, but also about how that enforcement goes about. So perhaps there could be a policy that says we'll send a letter, we'll make a phone call before the homeowner or the business owner sees their sign disappear. But I understand that's at the direction of the town board. It's your decision, and...
We can have that discussion at a workshop. Thank you.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
You'll let me know when that gets set, and then I can notify the people that reached out to me as well. We'll let the public know.
Is there a rule about distance, though? I mean, if you have it so many feet off the road, does it stay, or is it?
What's that?
I don't think there's any written...
I've just noticed one particular
Standards,
sign.
though, Tony.
They have moved the sign towards the house. So I'm going to say it's more than 12 feet off the road, and that sign hasn't moved in 3 weeks. So I'm wondering if the town, the people that are in the town that are taking the signs, are saying, all right, in this particular case, it's clearly on the property.
Town right away.
It's still illegal to have a sign that's an illegal sign, regardless of where on your property you have it.
I can email you the stuff I sent to me too, Tony, so you can see it. But anyway, thank you for bringing it up at a workshop. I'll look forward to it.
Okay. And the other thing I just want to point out to the public, the courts have ruled that there's a difference between political speech and commercial speech. Political speech is protected. Commercial speech is not. You can limit it. So, I get phone calls from people on the other side of the thought process here. When we start to see Route 9, for example, cluttered with A-frame signs, yard signs, feather signs, dancing signs, it really starts to look
Tacky.
yeah.
That's a good word.
So, there is a valid reason for sign laws, and so we'll go forward and we can discuss this further at a workshop. Okay.
John Salvador, I'm a resident in North Queensbury. On this Saturday past, the Dunham's Bay Association held its annual meeting for purposes of approving its operating budget and the affairs of the association for the ensuing year. At the same time, the North Queensbury Wastewater District Number 1 Advisory Board conducted an annual meeting in order to assess the district's progress with respect to water quality in Dunham Bay and to chart the future activities of the district. Supporting the district's progress with respect to the installation of enhanced on-site wastewater treatment units in residential use was a report of the results of a Lake George waterkeeper-sponsored algae analysis conducted on 11 sites around Dunham Bay. I will leave a copy of this report with you this evening. Because each year high levels of organic pollution have been observed based on the Polymer Pollution Index. Polymer Pollution Index ratings for Dunham's Bay have been consistently the highest known algae sampling within the Lake George Basin. All samples have indicated not just organic pollution, but excessive nutrients and in some cases the presence of chemical pollution. I bring this to your attention because we should not forget Environmental Conservation Law, ECL 17-1709. I'll read you 2 sections from that law. No person or corporation shall cause or permit to fall, flow, or discharge into Lake George, its tributaries, any sewage matter or other foul, noxious, or deleterious solid or liquid matter or effluent from any sewage disposal plant, including septic tanks, or any matter that may be declared such by the Board of Health of any municipality adjacent to such lakes where any such fall, flow, or discharge shall occur. I'm bringing this to your attention as you are the town's local Board of Health. You have a direct responsibility to abate the pollution reported in that report. The Board of Health of any such municipality shall examine into any alleged offense against this section within its jurisdiction and cause the same to be abated by injunction or otherwise if found to exist. I can tell you that there are no other agencies around that are going to attack this problem. By the way, this report I'm going to give you does not identify the sites by name. They are numbered, 1 through 11. They are numbered. And it has not been made known to us on the advisory board of what site is associated with what. But 3 sites, the degree of pollution has been increasing since 2016, 2014 through 2016 to today. It's increasing. Now, some of us know where these failures are. We just can't get anybody to do anything about it. You, though, have the responsibility. Clearly in the law, you have the responsibility to abate the pollution by injunction or otherwise. And I suggest you get organized to do the same. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else like to speak to the board? Okay. All right. Privilege of the floor. We'll close that. Town board discussions.
Good.
Tim? I'm fine. You're fine. Tony?
Just 3 things. As I mentioned before, I've gotten quite a few calls from constituents complaining about issues with water, and it's had a lot of water this year, a lot of rain. The unfortunate thing, and I've spoken to the highway department at length about it, is that they just cannot get to people right now because of the situations we have on 3 particular roads that we're rebuilding due to washout. So I have names. I've addressed the problem we have, and it's not a problem with the highway department, but a problem that the highway department is having with getting to people. So eventually they will be able to if it ever stops raining. So we're not ignoring you. Just remember that they are very busy right now trying to get these roads back open. Totally my fault. We missed on 2 things. Public hearing for no parking on Cleverdale Road in front of the church, and a public hearing to lengthen the 5-mile-an-hour zone in Sandy Bay. So if we can remember that, to set public hearings for the next meeting, if that's what we're going to do.
Well, the no parking is something we can set a public hearing for. The setback for the zone, we should have legal look into it. If my memory serves me, Bob Hafner, Miller, Mannix, Shackner, and Hafner said he tried to work it so we maxed out on what we could do to set the buoys for the 5-mile-an-hour limit. Now, I'm just going from memory, but I think that our...
It's Sandy Bay, John?
Would need to look into what we can do before we set that public hearing. So we can set a public hearing for proposing the no parking signs. Do we have a definition?
We do, and it's something I'll have to...
where we want to set
I have an email that I'll send to you again that I sent out already, but there is a definition, and it's just on one side of the road, where right now it says no parking except for Sundays, and we just want to take those signs down and say no parking, period, on just one side of the road.
Have you brought Tom or Dave up there?
Yes. We have met.
All right.
They're not, and I alluded to this the last time we spoke about it, they're not convinced it's going to help, but we have to do something. I don't know what the answer is. The sheriff's department said they aren't going to patrol up there on Sundays specifically to make sure that people are abiding by the no parking sign. So again, I'm not convinced it's going to help, but we need to...
It's probably not a high priority for them.
Yeah.
So you just want to have a public hearing on that, Tony?
I think so.
All right, so give me the definition of the side, east and west side, and from house number to house number, and then I can set a public hearing on that.
I'll go through the minutes too of the last resolution for Sandy Bay, because I know we discussed what we were doing and there was a reason for it, so I'll see what I can find out.
And I will ask legal to look into that too. Okay, Mike? Sandy Bay, 5-mile-per-hour setback.
My recollection is different from yours. I think that I thought that they could go all the way out to the points. We didn't do it.
All right.
I know that we need to look into it.
And you might be right. I'm just going from memory. So we'll look into it and see what the matter is and see what we can do. Okay?
I'll see what I can find, Mike. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, thanks. All right. Anything else, Tony?
Nope, thank you.
Okay. I got a letter from Megan Sergi, lives on 4 Reservoir Drive, Queensbury, New York. I think it's Sergi, S-I-E-R-G-I-E-Y. I'm a junior at Glens Falls High School. I take part in the band and play the clarinet, our symphonic band, and alto saxophone in our jazz band. In my school's chorus, I sing soprano, and I also sing and dance in the select group of performers in the Glens Falls High School octet. I've maintained high honor roll status throughout my middle school years and continue to do so at Glens Falls High School. I've been in 15 theater productions, and I am also a Lake George Theater youth member. This past year, my friend auditioned for and was accepted into the Great American Marching Band for the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. I was so excited for him and thought what a wonderful opportunity it was for him to represent our area in this nationally recognized event. So, this year I decided to submit an application and a video via YouTube to join the elite dance group with the Macy's Great American Marching Band. I worked very hard, and with my dance director's help, we put together a 3-minute audition video. The day the letter came in the mail, I was afraid to open it. I opened the letter, and I was accepted. The words, "Congratulations. On behalf of the Music Festival and Tours, Macy's, and the 91st Annual Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, it is my pleasure to inform you that you have been selected as a member of the 2017 Macy's Great American Marching Band." Brought me to tears. I am so honored and proud to have the opportunity to represent my great hometown and state of New York as I march and perform in the 91st Annual Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. I have attached a copy of my acceptance letter. The total cost of the trip is $1,724. I'm wondering if you would consider a monetary gift to help offset the cost of the trip for my family and I. I would like to reach a goal of $1,500. Any amount would be greatly appreciated. Donations can be made in the following ways. They can be made at the Glens Falls National Bank in my name, or you can email at her name at gmail.com, MEGSIERGIEY at gmail.com, and we can arrange a day for my mom or dad and I to pick up a donation at your business. You can mail it to my address noted at the top of this letter. I can be reached at 793-9043. This will be an experience of a lifetime for me. Thank you in advance for your time and generosity. Sincerely, Megan. And has a little picture of herself.
There's no end.
No, you know.
No end to gifting.
No, I constantly. But it comes with the job.
Privately would be good.
Pardon me?
Privately would be good. And you know, I think, can we put this on our website?
I don't know.
I don't know if...
I wouldn't solicit for funds. Wow.
Privately, you give her $1 million.
Well, I mean, you know, I'm sure members of the town board would join me in donating a little something, so we can do that.
As individuals. Good.
All right.
Dig down.
John will give 22.
All right. Also, Fox Road is open. Fox Road was one of the two roads in the town of Queensbury that was washed out. A culvert failure. The culvert exceeded capacity. The culvert had deteriorated from the inside and washed out the road. The town highway department went to work on it last week, and as of Friday, it was open. And it's open for traffic again. So John Labor sent a Dear John letter. But I think he meant it to the highway department and because he gets them the credit. And so I'd like to read it. I thought it was important for you to know of the great job the town highway did last week on Fox Road. On July 4th, due to very heavy rains and a deteriorated culvert, a large sinkhole developed, making the road impassable. The highway department closed the road and went right to work on the repair. Each day they dealt with a large volume of backed up water, making the job very difficult. They were able to install a new and larger culvert and upgraded the shoulder of the road on each side. The job was done in a very professional and timely fashion, with the road reopening 9 days later. Please thank Tom Van Ness and Dave Duell for the rest of the men who worked on the project. Sincerely, John Labor, 69 Fox Road. That's a good one. All right. And last, my report to board and community. Our last town board meeting was July 3rd. Tuesday, of course, was July 4th. I did the same thing as the rest of you with barbecues and watched the fireworks. Wednesday, did a Lake George Land Conservation Hike-a-thon. Actually, it should have been called Paddle-a-thon because I paddled Northwest Bay with the group, and it was a lot of fun. And I think it's a great event that the Lake George Land Conservancy does for the community. July 6th, Thursday, met with Budget Officer Barb Kearney and Joanne Watkins. We talked about the forthcoming budget, to set a schedule and so forth. I also, later that day, joined with a fundraiser, the Reardon Cup. It was a fundraiser for the Ronald McDonald House, a great organization. And as you know, all the good things they do for people who visit Albany's hospitals, and it provides a place for the families to stay. July 7th, Friday, I met with representatives of a development proposal. I don't know if they want me to make this public, to discuss potential sewer and water connections at the northeast corner of Routes 9 and 149. I also met with Kathy Bozzoni and Robin Reynolds to discuss friendly communities or clean energy communities. And I see Robin Reynolds, who is here tonight, Senior Planner of the Capital District Regional Planning Commission. Thank you for coming. And we didn't have anybody ask any questions for you to have to respond to, but thank you for coming. Then I went to the Lake George's annual meeting at the Sagamore. On July 10th, I went to the Glen Lake Protective Association annual summer picnic at the Glenmore Lodge. Tuesday, I went to the Civic Center announcement. Cool Insuring Arena will be the new name, and I'd like to thank the folks at Cool for stepping up to the plate and helping out the Civic Center. It is an important asset to the whole greater community. Wednesday, I met with leaders of Lake George to discuss some issues. How are we going to deal with the new circumstances we're dealt with and still deal with Lake George issues, because it's very important that we deal with those issues and do not let Lake George deteriorate any further. Met with legal. We discussed various legal issues. Then had an ARCC luncheon, and the guest was Just Water, Jim Siplon. Then we had a stage 3 grievance hearing that day. And then that night I went to Take a Bite in the City, which was a lot of fun. The city was alive and vibrant with lots of people and lots of good food. July 13th, Thursday, county committee meetings, finance meeting in the morning. I met with Steve Seaboyer and Tom Sargent to discuss moving the Rockhurst plan forward. Did site visit in the highway garage visions with them. Met with CT Mal, Joe Highland, and Scott Goodwell to discuss street lighting options moving forward. Robin Reynolds was there, and also Kathy Bizzoni. Councilman Brian Clements was there, and Travis Whitehead. And Travis Whitehead, by the way, has volunteered to help us along with the clean energy communities and setting a base. July 14th, Friday, Fox Road Culvert was repaired and open for traffic. I met with Cost Control Associates to discuss their contract to affirm our street lighting inventory. So we're thinking about our street lighting, changing them to LEDs with doing the energy, the environmentally friendly thing to do, as well as saving money for the taxpayers. But we need to have a clean inventory. And so we hired Cost Control Associates to do that. Now, if they find discrepancies between our inventory and Niagara National Grid's inventory, and it is in our favor, we will receive 70% of that benefit. They should have the lighting inventory done by October and a report on the potential refunds, if any, before the end of the year. Leon Steve stepped in. He was president of the Queensbury Land Conservancy Board and asked if the town could take the old Ogden Cemetery. And that's a cemetery located deep in the woods of the Old Faith Bible Church properties off of Division Road. So we're looking into that. Dick Sears called wondering if we had made any progress on resolving his Ridge Road tree and brush issues. Two things. He says that the original contract to do the regular routine grinding and chipping of the town's trees and brush as we bring them in, with these storm events, he says it's been a little unfair to him.
Yeah, it is. I agree.
And so he's wondering if we could sit down and talk about that, and I said yes. And also he's running out of room.
Or Rick?
This is Dick. But Rick...
I made the original arrangement with Rick.
Well, depends on
many years ago.
Contract you're talking about.
The original agreement that he went up there and ground and stuff.
There's 2 agreements. I'll bring you up to date on that. Dick and Rick are going to come in and talk to us anyways.
Okay.
Probably in the next workshop.
Can't wait.
And also on Friday, I went to the Lake George Association's annual fundraiser, which was themed Peace, Love, and Lake George.
Back in the 70s, huh?
And yeah, people dressed up really groovy. It was at the Sagamore, and it was a wonderful event, and I hope it was a big fundraiser for them. Yesterday, I was invited to go whitewater rafting with Governor Cuomo as part of the Adirondack Challenge. And I was in a raft with Mayor Joanne Yepsen, Mayor of Saratoga Springs, and Greg Leggett, who is the supervisor of the town of Chester, and Chris DeBolt, Washington County Administrator. And I want to thank them for saving me. We weren't in the boat 2 minutes. We hit white water, and guess who goes bouncing out in the air into the water? Yours truly.
Did you have a wetsuit on?
No. I got wet. And they grabbed me and pulled me back onto the raft, and we went on, had a great time. All right, today I went up to Glenda Brook Culvert. Kubricki Construction Company is working on it. This morning they started working on it. They're hoping to be done putting the new culvert in by Wednesday. So John Clendon, or Glenda Brook Road rather, should be open to the public again on Wednesday. I met with Kathy Bizzoni. We discussed the Lake George issues, some of those you brought before us tonight, John. She said some of the same things. And I met with a resident, Paul Pittman, who of 5 Geneva Drive, and he has issues with the Post-Stars flyers, and I've got a lot of those, and the town plow digging up its lawn. So I asked him if he would stake it out so the driver knows better, because when there's snowfall, it's very difficult for a snowplow driver to determine the edge of the road and the beginning of someone's lawn. Very difficult. But he might be able to remedy that. I finalized the agenda for Tuesday, July 25th workshop, which will include, among other things, discussion with National Grid, and they're going to talk about energy performance contracts. Chris Harrington, the superintendent of water and wastewater, wants us to listen to a PPA proposal. That's a power purchase agreement proposal from Gravity Renewables. Kathy Bizzoni will be present at the workshop to give us an update on Lake George shoreline septic data and her project to bring that up to snuff. What's going on with Rockhurst and property transfer law and our clean energy communities progress. And Glen Lake folks, all still not here, left, they want to talk about our marina zoning and make suggestions. All right, I also reviewed to see where the county is with the Mullen Bay Road property. We've got a complaint about that. And the county is doing, they were allowed to take like a temporary possession of the property to do environmental reviews. And the first review was fairly good, that the property wasn't very polluted, but they still have to go on to do the next stages, where they have to do some core drilling to see the groundwater is okay and things like that. So, and then we have a town board meeting. So that's my report to the board and community. Anything else for the good of the order, guys?
I do, Supervisor Stroud, we do have some correspondence.
Oh, correspondence, sorry about that.
Okay, we have the monthly report for community development and building and codes for the month of June on file in the town clerk's office.
Okay, thank you.
That's it.
Okay, anything else?
Just a reminder about a workshop next Monday.
Next
24th.
Monday?
Isn't there a workshop next
Tuesday.
Monday? Tuesday. I didn't know that.
Well, you know, trying to set these workshops in the summer months has not been the most fun event of my life. So that's the date everybody seemed to be able to make it at.
So it's Tuesday the 25th?
July 25th.
And what time?
7 p.m.
7 p.m.
I tried earlier times, I tried other dates, I tried everything. That's the only one I was able to nail down. And you know who can't make it? Are the people that want to talk about occupancy tax next year and what we're going to do and setting up a committee. So they want to make it to the August meeting. So I got an email, I'll forward it to you. Okay? Just FYI.
Get that one going. Yes.
Well, I know, but we probably won't start getting requests until February or March in 2018, but yeah, we'll just get it going. All right, Anything else for the good of the order?
Nothing.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
A motion to adjourn. All right, before we do that, maybe,
What?
I want to just thank Look TV
Oh.
and
Can't
Joel
thank him
Barlow, our
after the adjourn.
cameraman, and our sponsor, Stored Tech. All right, so
Okay.
motion made to
There you
adjourn
go.
by Councilman Brewer, seconded by
I'll second it.
Councilman Clements. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, we're adjourned. Thank you all for coming.
This program is underwritten by the generous support of Stored Tech, technology solutions for computers, networks, and phone. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.
Firms deal only with prevention, the systems that block hackers and viruses. Stored Tech knows the root cause is actually good people doing bad things. So we offer a security training program which includes certifying all participants to show they understand the basics.
Technology solutions for computers, networks, and phones. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.